Hello everybody, good day to you, and not so good day for me, and I'm going to get to that part in a second. This video is going to be a little bit different than usual. I am in drastic need of some assistance on a particular matter involving a 3.6 Pentastar. So this is a call to action to everyone out there who knows about these Pentastars. I need some help here. So the story is pretty much this thing came in with the classic Pentastar ticking noise. And if we were to look real close on this lifter, let me try to get this right here. We can see, let's see how this works here. Bear with me, folks. I'm trying to get this right. We can see on this lifter, see all that play, all that motion right there on the roller. See that guy? This was our smoking gun. Classic rocker arm. I kept calling it a lifter, pardon me. Classic rocker arm failure. This one exhibits something similar. You see that roller flopping around? So what had happened on this engine is the rockers were ticking. We pulled both the valve covers off of it and set up the timing block kit, locked the chains in, pulled the cams out of it. We changed out all the lifters and the rocker arms. There's 24 of these guys in total. Everything went completely, perfectly smooth until we started the engine, and I'm gonna go fetch the scan tool and show you guys what's going on and what I need some help with. By the way, how's my audio? I got a new microphone today. The units that I got, they have some noise canceling capabilities, and I'm hoping that it helps to drown out the fan noise and maybe in some of the background concrete grinding noises that we hear on occasion. Regardless, let's get back to what I'm trying to get back to here. So we're hopping into I think a 2013 Dodge Chrysler something product, Town and Country miniature van. It has about 180,446 miles on the odometer. Now, I do not have a video of the repair on this one. It just didn't make the cut, as I didn't actually do the job. Dave was working on it, and like I said, when he started this thing up, we had some kind of an issue. Check engine light popped up. So let's hit the key here, start the engine. Let's turn on some climate control because it's piping hot in Florida right now. 90 something degrees-ish. Anyway, what happens when we fire it up, we get a check engine light, and then the track light is gonna go ahead and pop up. And this thing has got 2 trouble codes that it has been storing in the ECM. Pulling up vehicle history here. It's a little high-speed fan action. 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan, not a Town and Country, but they're very similar. 3.6 liter Pentastar engine. And again, we did the classic rocker and lifter replacement just due to a ticking noise. We did not have to change the cams. The cams did not suffer any damage. We caught it very early on. It was a very light ticking noise. So after startup, let's go into codes menu. After startup, we got 2 trouble codes that appeared, both relating to the bank 2 camshaft position sensor. That's the bank at the front of the engine, closest to the radiator. So bank 1, cylinders 1, 3, and 5, that's the rear, and then 2, 4, and 6, that's the front. This engine's got 2 cams on each bank, so it's 4 cams in total. And what we have going on is the P0394 and a P0349 camshaft position sensor. 2 out of 2 intermittent circuit and 2 out of bank 2 sensor 1 intermittent circuit. So what it's saying is it's not very happy with the position sensor feedback that sensor is sending back to the ECM. Now, it's not the actual sensor. There's one on bank 2 and one on bank 1. When Dave was trying to troubleshoot this earlier after these codes came up, he took those 2 sensors, swap them out, you know, side to side, and if the code were to follow that particular sensor, then we know there was an issue with the sensor. I was in there earlier this morning and I was checking the 3 5-volt references at the connector. Let's go under the hood real quick and I'll show you. Actually, I'm going to pull this in out of the sun too, and then I'll show you because it's a little warm out here. Hood's still open, so we're just going to do this Ace Ventura style. Pet detective. Everybody's looking clear here, nothing's in the way. We're gonna get it up into the shade real fast. Bear with me, folks. Now, like I said, this is a non-entertainment kind of video. I really do need some assistance on this because I'm getting a little bit stumped, okay? Just gonna preface this whole thing with that whole thing. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna take you guys over to another Pentastar engine, and Uh-oh, Dave's he's already got the cover on, but I've got a sensor right here. So there's going to be a camshaft here and a camshaft here. Both of those camshafts have a magnetic pickup on them. So we've got one sensor with 4 circuits. There's going to be 3 5-volt references on those circuits and then 1 ground. So half the sensor reads the exhaust cam, then the other half of the sensor is reading the intake cam. And again, there are 2 sensors, one on either bank, and they both do the exact same function. I'll show you the pickup on one of the camshafts that the sensors are reading. Basically, it's a little wheel on the cam, and that wheel contains some there's magnets inserted into that wheel. Now, as those magnets pass by that sensor, it creates a disturbance in the electrical signal, and that's what the PCM uses to interpret the position of these camshafts. Does that make sense? Back over here at the engine in question, we're looking at the front cylinder bank, and it's again saying it does not appreciate the signal or the intermittent losses signal from this bank of cylinders on this camshaft right here. Now, my immediate thought was, hey, the thing is out of time. Maybe it jumped a tooth while the cam was disassembled and removed, or maybe maybe it didn't get put back together properly. But I kind of am leaning away from this thing being out of time. Reason being is that it's running very smoothly, and we are not receiving any cam crank correlation codes. If the timing chain had jumped time at the crank, because we marked the chain and we marked the sprockets up at the top, but we didn't mark the crank because we used the tool in order to avoid removing the timing cover to do this job. So with the absence of a cam/crank correlation code, I don't think that those 2 cams are out of time when it comes to the crankshaft. However, due to the trouble code that it has, there's a very huge lack of power. The thing runs and idles very smoothly, but I have almost no power. It's not drivable. And right after startup, it gives me the P0394 and the dreaded P0349 circuit, intermittent, bank 2, sensor 1, and sensor 2. So that single sensor is unhappy with both of those camshafts. So pulling up AllData for the Town & Country / Grand Caravan, if we were out of time, I would think that it would have given me a P0016, which is crankshaft camshaft misalignment. Bank 1, well, that's the bank 1 version. Let's check 1.7 and 1.8. But point being, yeah, camshaft misalignment, bank 1, sensor 2. So there are trouble codes in place for if this engine is physically out of time. So if we go down here to that 396, P03, or was it 396 or 394? 349, sure. Yeah, 349, camshaft position, intermittent, bank 2, sensor 1. That's the ones that we are looking for. And the flow chart down here, yeah, there we go, 394, we have that one. And 349, we have that one. So my flow chart is having me check engine oil, make sure the oil is correct, aerated or contaminated, incorrect filter. We actually put in a different filter just to check that. Insufficient oil pressure due to mechanical failure. We didn't have anything of that problem until we fixed the rockers. I have already checked the 5-volt reference circuits. There are 3 of them on both of those connectors. I've also checked for a good ground, so it's not a grounding issue. Neither of them are shorted to voltage because I have exactly 5-volt reference on all 3 of the connectors that are going into that camshaft position sensor. We've already verified it's not the actual sensor because we did a swap with a known good sensor. And I'm wondering, and this is where you guys come into play, did somehow we damage the tone wheel that's on the camshaft? Dave tells me that there was a little bit of kind of just metal particle buildup. Pretty much the common metals you're going to find that the oil carries around. A little bit of that metal was building up on those pickup wheels on the cams, and he said he wiped them off. We did not put any magnets on top of those cams that could possibly demagnify the situation, and again, we're a little stumped. I'm pretty sure that the PCM is not the issue here. and we do not have an oil pressure problem. There's not an oil pressure issue. So in order to give whoever can possibly help me out and give me some insight to this, I'm going to go over here to back to the scan tool, and we're going to pull up some engine data. And again, if I were to follow that flow chart down, it's basically telling me to replace the engine camshafts in it. I don't see why I need to replace camshafts unless somehow we damaged we damaged the tone ring or demagnetized it. But I just I don't really see how that could have happened. So I'm reluctant to decide to take this engine apart again and then put cams in it. Yeah, let me pull up some data, and I'm going to go through my data list on these two codes, and we're just going to review all of it, and you guys tell me if anything is standing out. What I'm really looking for is a Chrysler tech who works on these things all the time that's going to know exactly what these figures are going to indicate. So we're going to go into engine. Now she's running right now, and the engine's running smooth. There's no misfires, no shakes. It just doesn't have any power like past 1,000 RPM. It just doesn't know what to do. Anyways, so moving along, and I'm going to skip through a lot of this, and we're going to do a bunch of paraphrasing, so to speak. Long-term fuel trims are pretty much on the money. My O2 sensors are doing what they should be doing. These are of little concern to me. I'm going to scroll this down until I get to my camshaft data. I'm pretty sure that the data that we're going to see out of the Snap-on tool is going to be a little bit limited. It's not what the Chrysler guys are going to see on their end and on their scan tools. So bear with me for the limited amount of data. Anyway, we get into camshaft. So first of all, I'm not sure how accurate this is. The base spark in degrees is negative 38 degrees. So we are retarded on our spark ignition timing by 38 degrees before top dead center. I don't know if that's within spec on this engine or not, but it's worth noting. Now my cam and crank synchronized state, according to the scan tool, says that they are in sync. Okay, we have a modeled cat converter temperature, not really significant. Crank signal missing, false, which means we do have a crankshaft signal. The crank synchronization state is stated to be in sync. It is not in limp home mode. Scrolling down, let's find some more cam data. Let's see, oil temp 200 degrees, that's normal. I'm sorry, that was coolant temp 200 degrees. Oil temp 188, again normal. We've been running for 146 seconds so far. RPM looks good. Okay, here's where I need the Chrysler guys. So we've got exhaust cam 1, crank difference in degrees, negative 4.5 degrees. You see that? Scroll up. 4.5 degrees in the negative. So is the number 1 cam out of time? Is what I'm wondering. That negative 4.3 degrees. If we scroll down to exhaust cam crank difference 2, we have positive 0.5 degrees. So did this thing slip time and nobody noticed? Is that what's going on here, guys? Because I do see a huge discrepancy here. If we scroll up to these other 2 degree measurements, exhaust cam 1 actual position and desired position, desired meets actual, but that's 117 degrees. Let's go down here to exhaust cam 2, again 117 degrees, so there's no discrepancy there. And I think that's pretty much all that I have for cam data right here, is my difference in engine degrees. We've got the 0.5 right there, and then the negative 4.3. Does this mean that this engine somehow during the repair, did we lose a tooth at the crank from the timing chain, is what I'm wondering. I really don't know what else to do at this point except to pull the front timing cover off of it and verify timing marks again. But I would like some insight before we have to go down that road and kind of do this job again. So basically I have a repair that's a failure, and we know a whole bunch of things that it's not, and I don't know what it is. I do understand that there has been an issue with those connectors for the camshaft position sensors, those 4-wire connectors that I showed you. But again, I've probed those already with a meter, and I found good continuity between the wire side and the pin on all 3 of the 5-volt references and on the ground side. So I do not believe we have a connector. I do realize those are failure prone, and they are in stock at like every parts store in town, but through some testing, I know it's not the connector. So I'm trying to understand what we could have done that caused these DTCs to pull up, because I've got to get this thing right. My guy needed his van back kind of yesterday, because he works for a living and he does a lot of painting work, and unfortunately I had to give him the wife unit's van to drive this week while I try to figure this out. So we're down a minivan on my end of the world, but I had to do it for my customer. And ironically, this is actually my fault that it went down in such a stressful way, because yesterday, number one, we were under pressure to get this thing done, because again, the fella needed his van back, and everything was going great yesterday morning. I said, hey, call him back, tell him 4 o'clock, it'll be ready to rock and roll. And he said, great, I'll come by, pick it up tomorrow. And yesterday at 4 o'clock is when Dave hit the key. 4 seconds later, check engine light came on. I spent 2 hours trying to troubleshoot this. We're going over the connectors under the engine. We're checking grounds, making sure there's no wire pinched under a valve cover, you know, just the real common stuff. And after a test drive and a quick review of the scan tool data, along with the flow chart over there on AllData, I realized something may be drastically wrong. So what do you guys think? Please let me know in the comment section down below, especially you Chrysler guys that work on these things in real life, in the field. Are we out of time on this engine, and do I need to pull the timing cover and reset the timing? Erico, I know you're going to see this one. Don't laugh at me, but unfortunately I'm all out of ideas, so I'm appealing to the masses to give me an answer on this one. I just want someone to tell me I don't have to pull the timing cover off. If I got to pull the timing cover off, man, it is what it is. I'll deal with it. We're going to get it fixed up right, but I figured, again, it would be best to ask the audience. I'm phoning a friend is what's going on. We're asking the audience here, what did we do wrong and what do I need to do to fix this situation? Let me know, comment section down below. Do not forget to hit that like while you're down there, and if you would like to see the resolution to this scenario, consider that subscribe button. That way you will not miss out on the notification for when I post the follow-up on the repair on what we have to do to get this van back to life. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys being here. See you on the next one. End of transmission.